As we've been telling you, more than 2,000 homes were destroyed in the recent wildfires. Hundreds of others suffered fire and smoke damage.
Consumer advocate Carmen Balber is with the Foundation for Taxpayer and Consumer Rights. She's here with advice on how to get everything you deserve from your fire insurance policy. First of all, welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, what we thought we'd do is have you answer the most commonly asked questions from fire victims. And the first one is, who is responsible for making sure insurance policies are adequate to rebuild and homeowners are fully protected?
Well, obviously, when a homeowner buys homeowner insurance, they expect they're purchasing a product that will make it possible for them to rebuild their home in the case of a disaster like those that we've experienced over the last week and a half. It's the insurance company's responsibility to explain to the consumer exactly what they're buying and let them know whether or not they're buying coverage that will make sure that they're fully insured, that after the disaster, they don't have any trouble rebuilding the home that they've lost.
This is an interesting question, and I'm sure you get it a lot. What about homeowners' fears that their premiums will go up if they file a claim? What about that?
I think it's a fair question, because we saw after other disasters, homeowners insurers, for instance, after Katrina, doubling premiums, tripling premiums, or in some cases refusing to sell insurance at all. Right now, the situation is that California homeowners insurance companies have adequate money to cover all of the fires. Fires are not an unexpected occurrence in California, so home insurance premiums should not be going up, and it's the responsibility of the California Insurance Commissioner to keep an eye on the insurance companies after this disaster to make sure that they don't.
Even if you're in a fire-prone area?
Even if you're in a fire-prone area, and I think this is really important. We're not talking about, in this situation, a few homes on a mountainside. This was a massive disaster and was not unexpected in California. Homeowners insurance companies have been taking our premiums for years. That's what they take that money for, to help us out in times of need.
Okay, question number 3. We had John Garamendi on the other day, the former insurance commissioner, and he said, and Mark was asking, what about cancellations? So are homeowners protected from policy cancellations and non-renewals?
Absolutely. And this is, I think, one of the biggest longer-term pictures. Are we going to see, when the attention dies down, insurance companies trying to pull out of those areas that they call risky? Well, insurance is here to protect us from just that kind of risk. They can't pick and choose to only insure the people who will never file a claim. It's the insurance commissioner's job, again, to make sure that insurance companies aren't cherry-picking only the areas in California that they most want to insure. So we have a law in California that protects homeowners who lost their homes from losing their policy immediately after. The insurance commissioner needs to expand those protections and make sure that homeowners who file claims aren't penalized for it afterwards.
So I'm clear on that. I have some damage, I file a claim, they pay me off. They can't cancel me immediately?
After these wildfires, no. After the 2003 wildfires, concerns were raised that exactly that kind of thing would happen. Legislation was passed to make sure that if you are affected by a disaster, if this kind of emergency happens, then insurance companies are required to offer you a policy renewal. Now that needs to be expanded to protect your neighbor next door whose house wasn't burned down but was evacuated.
Okay, now here's something that a lot of us aren't experts. We rely on the professionals to come in with their estimates. But what should homeowners do if they feel pressured to accept an estimate or settlement that they just don't think is fair?
Well, I think the most important to remember is that the first check is not the only offer. And we saw after the 2003 fires over 600 homeowners, and remember there were about 2,500 homes lost then, so a very large percentage of homeowners complaining to the Department of Insurance that their insurance company was not offering them a fair deal. Homeowners need to know that they're entitled to a fair offer from their insurance company. If you don't think the offer is fair, you have a lot of options. You can go to your own adjuster. You can complain to the Department of Insurance. You can even find an attorney. And insurance companies know that if you've got outside help, if you're not only relying on the guy who works for them, that they may be getting more information, that they will be pressured then to give you a fair settlement.
We've heard a lot about FEMA coming in very quickly after this disaster and individual grants being offered. Let's talk about FEMA assistance. What type of expenses are covered by FEMA?
The important thing to remember in California, and especially in this sort of situation, is that if your homeowner's insurance policy is going to cover your losses, then FEMA isn't going to offer you assistance. You have to go to your insurance first. Once your insurance coverage is exhausted, that's where FEMA kicks in. So obviously they were out there helping people in the midst of the crisis. Afterwards, they're there to pick up those losses. For instance, if your insurance company doesn't completely rebuild your home, that you may not have completely covered.
And we have one last question we wanted to squeeze in here. What type of financial assistance is available through FEMA?
A lot of the FEMA assistance is loans, but there are grants available too, and it depends on the individual homeowner's circumstance. California homeowners can also go to the California Department of Social Services that has added an additional $10,000 grant after you've exhausted your FEMA assistance. So that money is out there. You just need to know that you need to exhaust what your insurance policy will give you first. However, it's a good idea to start applying now.
All right, Carmen, we appreciate it. Really good stuff, and so many folks affected by this. We appreciate your information this morning.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.